For a long time, I believed I knew what it meant to live. Looking back, I realize I was only existing, waking up, moving through the day, falling asleep again, never fully present. The numbness crept in so slowly that I didn't notice it until the moment I chose to try something different. It seemed harmless at first, but sometimes a single small change doesn't just alter your routine. It exposes everything you've been avoiding. I had been married to Michael for 8 years. He was steady, gentle, dependable, the kind of man people trusted without a second thought. Our life together was calm, structured, and painfully predictable. We woke up at the same time each morning. Our workdays blended into one another. Evenings passed quietly, filled with an unspoken distance. There was no anger between us, no chaos, only a silence that grew heavier with time. I cared about him deeply, or at least I thought I did. But love can quietly turn into habit before you realize what's been lost. One evening, scrolling absent-mindedly, through my phone, I came across a post advertising local dance nights for couples and singles. I smiled. I hadn't danced in years. Still, something about it lingered. Maybe it was the mention of singles. Maybe it was the promise of feeling alive again. I told Michael I wanted to try something new. He encouraged me instantly. He didn't ask to come along. He didn't ask questions. And so, that Friday, I went by myself. The studio was filled with unfamiliar faces and soft music. I felt awkward, unsure of where I belonged. That's when I met Jason, confident, charming, fully present. When he looked at you, everything else seemed to fade. He held out his hand and said, "You look like you're meant to be on the floor." For the first time in years, I believed it. At first, it was just movement, laughter, fun. A part of me that had been asleep finally stirring. The rhythm, the spins, the ease, it all felt light, freeing. But slowly, the boundaries blurred. One Friday became every Friday. Conversations stretched beyond the studio. Jason walked me to my car. Messages followed during the week. He told me I had something special. That routine shouldn't erase it. I convinced myself it was innocent, that I was simply reconnecting with joy. But joy becomes dangerous when it's borrowed from the wrong place. One night, long after everyone else had gone, the music continued softly in the empty room. The lights were low. Jason pulled me closer, and suddenly, it wasn't about dancing anymore. My heart raced. I thought about my husband, about the life waiting at home, and for one terrifying moment, I didn't want to return to it. I wanted the attention, the feeling of being seen, of being chosen. We leaned close enough to feel each other's breath. Then I stepped back. My hands were shaking. Jason whispered that I didn't have to settle for a life that felt empty, but I knew better. Happiness built on deception isn't real. It's just another escape. I left that night with guilt sitting heavy in my chest. When I got home, Michael was asleep on the couch. The television glowed softly. Dinner sat untouched on the table. He looked peaceful, trusting, and the sight of him broke me. I realized I had already crossed a line, not physically, but emotionally, in my thoughts, in my longing, in my silence. I had betrayed him long before anything almost happened. The next day, I deleted Jason's number and never returned to the studio. When Michael asked if I was okay, I told him I felt lost. He held me and said we'd find our way forward together. That quiet forgiveness, given without knowing everything, changed me more than any confession ever could. 2 years have passed since that night. Michael and I began doing things differently, traveling, exploring, talking, really talking. I learned that emptiness can't be healed by replacing people. It has to be faced, slowly and honestly. Trying something new didn't fix my life. It revealed it. It showed me how fragile loyalty becomes when needs go unspoken, and how easily attention can be mistaken for value. Sometimes, I still think about that night. Not because I miss Jason, I don't, but because I miss the version of myself who finally admitted she wasn't okay. The woman brave enough to want more, even if she searched for it in the wrong place. There's a quiet loneliness that follows you after you almost lose everything. It doesn't scream. It whispers. I catch Michael looking at me sometimes, not with suspicion, but with care, as if he knows there's still healing happening. And in those moments, I understand how rare forgiveness truly is. It isn't earned. It's given when someone sees your cracks and chooses to stay. Jason once told me I didn't have to return to a life that didn't make me happy. He was wrong. You don't run from unhappiness. You rebuild, you confront it, you work through it, together. Michael and I still argue. We burn breakfast, we laugh, we try. Our love isn't thrilling, it's intentional. And that's something I never understood before. Trying something new doesn't always mean chasing the unfamiliar. Sometimes it means returning to what you already have and choosing it fully. If I could speak to the woman I once was, I'd tell her this. You were never empty. You were never lost. You were only waiting to see yourself clearly. Life isn't about chasing what's new. It's about recognizing what's been quietly waiting for you all along. And maybe that's what transformation really is.